Our old good friend, Joe Griffin, is here. Joe, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming back. It's
been a long time since I've been here. I think it was like 5 or 6 years.
I think it is. I think this is your third time on the show. The first time was our old space. At Genesis Art Supply. But I know you've been to this space, but it has been a while.
It has been some time. There's been a lot going on in the world.
Yeah, a little bit. Do you ever have that moment where you're still kind of like, you have to remind yourself that crazy shit happened? Like,
oh God, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And just lost time.
Yeah. No, I truly.
Like 2020 was 2 months ago, right?
Yeah, no kid. Yeah, no kid. No kid. I feel like it happens either way. It's either happened like 2 months ago or it was like 20 years ago. I feel like there's no middle ground
Absolutely.
At all. So
yeah.
I feel like we just lost a lot of time. I think also the fact that I feel like we all just kind of jumped into the future anyway. Like there's something happened over the course of the last few years. We all just took this huge leap into the...
We were kind of forced to, weren't we?
Yeah, truly.
We really were.
No, truly. I was gonna say I was singing the praises of your new EP Passage, and I also not only to you but to the listeners as well.
Oh,
it's a beautiful new album, man. I really I said this to you off the air, but I want to say this on air too. There's this depth to it, and it may be connected to, like I said, the fact we were just talking about these things that have happened over the last few years. We all go through big changes in our life and everything, but I think just the songwriting is, and again, there's always been that quality about your work, but the new work, it just has, again, this depth and profundity to it that I just find so just touching, and it really so. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the new work.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that's great to hear.
Yeah,
that's great to hear.
We're gonna hear some new stuff. I think
there will be some new stuff. Yeah, a little bit of old stuff. It's not quite the Eras tour, but.
You could just do Rough Cut Love, and it's an entirety.
I'm gonna just go straight back to the '80s and play the stuff from my college band.
That's perfect. Let's do it. I'm down with that. Well, without further ado, Mr. Joe Griffin is here live in the Que4 studio. You got some songs for us. We're gonna chat a little bit, but let's jump into some music, man.
All right. This first is a song from a single that I put out. I want to say 2019, 2020. This is called My Cartoon Mind. I think we've been down this road before. I think we got about as lost back then as we are now. Remember last time when we fought that same old fight? Did I say anything smarter then? Or am I just repeating myself? Round and round the curves and canyons, chasing after something that we'll never catch or even find. And I'm running off a cliff, but I don't fall until I notice it. That's what happens every time to you and me in my cartoon mind. You'd think we'd figure out this world by now. All watercolor cliffs and highways, no way out. For every time I put the trap down on the road, I'll always run away from you. You'll always bring me back again. Round and round the curves and canyons, chasing after something that we'll never catch or even find. And I'm running off a cliff, but I don't fall until I notice it. That's what happens every time to you and me in my cartoon mind. I think we've been down this road before. Think we got about as lost back then as we are now. And maybe the next time when we see those same old signs, we'll mind the edge and stop the chase, or fall down to the ground again. Round and round the curves and canyons, chasing after something that we'll never catch or even find. And I'm running off a cliff, but I don't fall until I notice it. That's what happens every time to you and me in my cartoon mind. And the same thing happens every time to you and me in my cartoon mind. And the same thing happens every time. Thanks very much. You got all the right levels and sounds and stuff?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Cool. This moving on. This is actually a song that I wrote last year. It is not out yet, so I guess it's a world premiere, and so hopefully people like it. We'll see. This is slated for a record that I'm working on now, and that will hopefully be out later this year. And this is called "Stop Hauling My Heartbreak Around." The people who know us, I'm not gonna lie, they say I've been a bit different since we said goodbye. They know how I hang on and drag at the heels, a cart full of memories with two broken wheels. There's friends who'll tell me put it all down, but there's pieces of our love all over this town. The umbrella we shared at the bus stop on rainy days is tattered and torn. I can't throw it away. I got a bag full of memories that make me feel blue, and I grab souvenirs from wherever we've been to. I know all the places where we could be found. I need to stop hauling my heartbreak around. Well, the music we love, all our favorite tracks, is now a sack full of albums slung over my back. And the laughter we made here, I think that you'll find I can't lift it up, I can't leave it behind. I got a bag full of memories that made me feel blue, and I grab souvenirs from wherever we've been to. I know all the places where we could be found. I need to stop hauling my heartbreak around. Stop hauling my heartbreak around. Stop hauling my heartbreak around.
You talking about this new record that you're working on, you hope to have out. Do you enjoy making a record? Do you actually enjoy the process of it?
I really do.
Yeah.
If it's going well.
Sure.
I've been part of records that have taken a long time, right, and split bands up and cost insane amounts of money and all that sort of thing. This most recent thing, though, was all in my home studio, and all just, hey, I've got an extra hour tonight and I just want to chill out. I'm going to put down a couple guitar tracks.
Yeah.
And really rewarding to sit down and work at it and then play it back and go, oh, yeah, that sounds really nice.
Yeah.
And, move on. I do a lot of vocal doubling and stuff, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
And part of it is when I'm working by myself, I can sort of get into a zone about it and really focus on things. And
there's something to be said for working in your own home studio, right? I mean,
yes.
Yeah. Short commute.
Absolutely short commute.
Yeah. No dress code.
Yeah. Pretty much whenever you want to do it, you can. I mean, that was part of the reason that I put a home studio together, was I didn't want to have to call and make an appointment. And I mean, certainly for things like drums, you want to go into a place.
Sure.
But I wanted to just be able to roll out of bed at 2:00 in the morning with an idea and put a demo together,
Right.
and I can.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's a luxury, man. That's incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
How long have you been working on this new record, this forthcoming record?
On the passage or the
Yeah, not the passage. But I want to get back to the passage, but I'm talking because you had just played a song on this new album. I'm curious, like how long you've been working on this, and
the songs were written last year.
Okay.
I had done a thing where for years and years, and I've heard other songwriters talk about this. You need 10 tracks for an album, say, and once you've got 10, you go into the studio.
right,
And that's not really a great way to do it, because then you're going to have stuff that's maybe not quite so good.
Mm-hmm.
And so last year I thought, okay, if I'm gonna put out 10 songs, I'm gonna write 50.
sure.
So I spent last year writing a bunch of songs.
Yeah.
And I think I wound up with 55 or something like that. And some of them are absolutely terrible, And,
Sure.
but hopefully what emerges out of that is the 8 or 10 that are solid.
Yeah,
And Passage was sort of the first batch of stuff
Of
that I
new
thought,
songs?
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, this is good. This is nice. I like this. I actually pushed Passage to the front because the full band record, we had scheduling issues.
sure.
We were trying to get that recorded in March, and it didn't happen. And so I thought, oh, well, okay, I'll just do the acoustic album.
Yeah.
So,
Let's talking about Passage, and was there kind of talk a little bit about the songs that you put on it? Why were those songs put together? Is there this kind of overlying theme to what's going on and all of that, or I mean, how do those songs fit together?
it wasn't deliberate, but when I was looking at the 55 songs, the 6 or 7 that are on Passage all seemed to involve characters who were in a liminal state,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was a relationship they weren't sure about, or there's a ghost story on there, so you've got someone who's kind of between death and the afterlife. There's all sorts of characters who are in the midst of something rather than in a settled place.
Right.
And so they all just sort of fit together, not in a concept album sort of way or a storyline, but all of them felt unsettled.
Yeah, sure.
So,
I'm curious, what was the process of writing those songs? Those characters tend to be characters that you're drawn to anyway, or was this something you really set out to kind of write these songs about unsettled characters?
like I said, it wasn't deliberate. It just
I guess I'm not putting the songs together. I mean the literal, like each individual song. Were you in a place where you're thinking about those kinds of characters?
I think, I mean, certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly, especially we were talking about the last 4 years
Yeah.
in just the world.
Right.
I think that the pandemic was a liminal space
Right.
that we all existed in. We're not at work, but we're not at work. And,
Right.
we're not in the world, but with the internet, we're trying to be in the world.
Right.
So I think that sort of in between uncomfortable, off balance place was where a lot of people were.
You just kind of tapping into the zeitgeist of things and pulling stuff out of the ether to a certain degree.
I suppose. I mean, I don't want to give myself like the full credit of the tapping into the zeitgeist thing. I'm not Pete Townsend, but it's definitely. It was definitely there. It was definitely on my mind.
Sure. I think it's easier to tap into it now because because we are constantly bombarded with what is going on in the world. I think
Right.
I think it's constant. I kind of feel like we're constantly bombarded about what's going on in whether it be in Gaza right now or in Ukraine or in what's going on in the United States. We're bombarded with this constantly because you can't get on the news, you can't get on your phone or a laptop, you can't get on social media,
Right.
without just being like constantly. So it kind of feels away like that stuff kind of just creeps
There's
in.
a big billboard that says this is the
Yeah,
zeitgeist.
this is the zeitgeist. Yeah.
With the presidential election, we are in a cycle right now where we have no idea which way things are going to go.
It's unimaginable to think what could happen. Man.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And so, I kind of know if I could help but write stuff that's
Sure.
off balance like that.
Yeah, sure.
So.
And so many of those characters existing in the world today. I mean, there's people who, like you said, is feeling that liminal space. I mean, all you have to do is walk outside and you're looking at people on the street who are in liminal space because they have no place to go.
Sure.
Yeah, they're
absolutely.
constantly, like I said, just all constant, especially in a city like Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? I was curious. And always like, is writing easy for you?
No.
Yeah,
it's not, and that was one of the things about last year is kind of buckling down and going, okay, how do you do this? I never really studied it so much as it was just sort of when I felt like writing a song or a specific lyric came into my head. Oh, that'd be a cool thing to start a song with.
right.
I got into like free writing and a bunch of different techniques. I followed a bunch of songwriters on Instagram and TikTok, and I read Jeff Tweedy's book How to Write One Song.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Was it helpful?
I wrote one song.
Was it a Jeff Tweedy sounding song?
I don't remember which one it was, to be honest. I think it's a good book.
Yeah.
I think that there were some techniques that I got from it that were helpful.
Did you read Rick Rubin's book? Did you read
I haven't read Rick Rubin's book.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. I mean, a lot of it I think is you're gonna like, well, yeah. I mean, you're like, but I think that's the beauty of it. The book, as deep and as profound as the book is, it also is so simplistic. Like, because it's this thing of like anybody truly is an artist. Anybody can tap into that ability to do something. We're not doing it for the people. We're not doing it for an audience. We're doing it for ourselves. And if it finds an audience, then that's great.
Right.
If that's what you want. Some people just want to create. They don't even want that. They just need to get it out or whatever. The Henry Darger kind of thing, or you're Vivian Meyer, where you're just creating it to do it.
Exactly.
But I do recommend it. It's I don't know if it's going to help you write a song, but it might help you just leave
Everything in some way helps me write a song,
there you go, right? Yeah, because you're tapped into the zeitgeist of what's going on.
I guess I am.
We gonna hear another song from you here?
Yeah, this one's called Chaperone, and it is from Passage. So. If I was curious, turn it up a decibel. Do I have to find someone that I'm not ashamed to tell? I can stay home, take it as it comes and not be worried. Do it all alone. I don't need a chaperone. Now that there's no excuse except the one I always said, I just have to answer to the arbiter in my own head. And I can stay home, take it as it comes and not be worried. Do it all alone. I don't need a chaperone. Years I said I don't, and all my life I said I won't. And once I have, I can't say I never have. And I can stay home, take it as it comes and not be worried. Do it all alone. I don't need a chaperone. So this next song is from an EP that I put out a few years ago called As Lost As We Are Now. And this one is called Backsheesh. I said no to everyone, gave them my excuses, gave them my I'm so sorries. One more border to cross, one more mask to put on. Pay you your backsheesh and I'll be gone. Staring rows of taillights down, wiper blur, the past is propane. Relax when you roll the car and you'll come out alive. In the silence of shadows sometimes, reflect on my repentance and the flaws and fouls and falls and failures. Staring rows of taillights down, wiper blur, the past is propane. Relax when you roll the car and you'll come out alive. I gave you. Don't care what you want now. I'll call you back. I'm on deadline. I gave them my I'm so sorries, gave them my excuses, and I said no to everyone. Staring rows of taillights down, wiper blur, the past is propane. Relax when you roll it and you'll come out alive.
I got to wear a lot of hats here, Joe. Yeah, that person we were mentioning earlier about coming out and giving you a shoulder rub in between songs. I need that person to come and help me do my Instagram in the middle of all this. Anyway, I need more hands. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you. So, you were talking about writing and kind of, you're like, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do this because it doesn't become easy to me. I'm really going to, and there's this idea like you really have to treat it like a job. You kind of have to get up in the morning and, you sit down and do this kind of thing.
Right.
When you are writing, does that kind of thing work for you? Or, as you mentioned earlier, are you really one of these people that gets, like, I get an idea at 3 a.m. and I got to get up and I got to put this together because, I mean, is it how disciplined, I guess, really is the question, and when it comes to it, are you? And how disciplined have you become? Has it evolved from where you used to be?
I think it has evolved a little bit because it used to just be, for a lot of years, it was just when I was inspired to write something. Mm-hmm. Back in college, when I was in a band with a guy that I would co-write with, it would be, okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to write a song. Right. And writing by myself the last however many years, that discipline sort of goes away. Last year, though, I actually participated in 2 songwriting challenges, and they're both organized by the same group of people, and one is in the month of February album writing month, where the goal is to write 14 songs in 28 days.
Wow.
And that at the end of February you'll have an album. It's like
Sure.
November novel writing month. It's the same basic idea.
Right.
And they also do a challenge over the summer, which is 50 songs in 90 days.
Okay.
Which is an insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I in trying to do this thing last year, I just was like, well, that's a good enforced structure.
Mm-hmm.
And that did force me to, okay, well, it's another day, got to write another song. Instead of 4 weeks goes by and I haven't seen or heard anything that inspired me and whatever. So I did have to okay, well, now I got to do 20 minutes of free writing or do a cut-ups exercise or something to get something going.
Yeah.
And sometimes it would just be something stupid, but there would be a song there at the end and be like, okay, well, I've done that.
Right.
And part of it was letting go of the self-censorship. Because a lot of times what would happen is I'd get, half a verse into something and go, oh, no, that's terrible. And then just stop.
Yeah.
Instead of pushing through to what might actually be good.
Yeah.
Towards the end of it.
It's a hard thing to turn off, though, right? I mean, we all have that, no matter what we're trying to do, especially creative. I think we have that thing of
absolutely,
this is crap. This isn't good enough, and it's voices that you're hearing that may be from a long time ago or whatever. But most of the time, it's just you. It's your voice.
It's my voice, and it may sound like other people.
Right.
But it's all it's all in my head and going, no, that's crap. You can't sing that.
So how do you fight that? How do you get through that? How do you personally?
I don't. I wish I could answer that.
Yeah.
In a way that sounded cool, but just pushing through and going, okay, well, maybe that line is crap now, and maybe once I sleep on it, something else will come.
Sure.
I think I want to say that the one of the songs I played earlier, I think I wrote the original lyric for 2 years before it was actually done, because I wrote it and went, oh no, that's not good, and certain parts of it stayed with me, and I'm like, no, okay, I gotta jettison the stuff that's bad, and figure out how to repair this, because I do like the parts that are decent.
Yeah. What was it about that line? Why did that stick? Why did that stay with you, do you think?
I think it was because of the particular story that I wanted to express.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I want to get this feeling out. I've just chosen a really horrible way to do it so far.
Sure.
And, there's got to be a different approach.
Yeah.
That'll let me sing that line. As simple as that. Is I want that part of the song to be out.
Yeah.
So,
how many of those 55 songs that you wrote, do you think, how many of them you think will see the light of day?
12, 14.
Yeah. So you got a vault, I bet. I mean, I bet you've got a Prince-sized vault of music sitting somewhere.
I wish I could say I did, but this being the first time that I really tried that kind of thing.
Yeah. You tend to kind of release what you write.
That was what it was before this.
Yeah.
And I really kind of was always dissatisfied with that, because there would be things that would show up on records, and I won't name them,
Sure.
that I'd go, oh man, and I've heard much more famous and much more talented songwriters than me say, I listen back and go, oh, I shouldn't have put that on the record,
right.
or oh, I never finished that, or
right.
I
think all artists do that, right? I mean,
I think so.
Theater,
I hope so.
I mean, I can tell you, the theater director experience, how many times a show opened, I was like, God, how did I miss that? How did I let that happen? How did I let that actor make that choice? I think it's always, I've heard painters say the same thing. They put it up on the wall, and they're like, oh my God, what?
Right.
Yeah, what was I?
What's the cliche that any work of art isn't finished, it's just abandoned?
Yeah, right.
So
true. What else you got, man?
So this is another song from Passage, and this was written in reaction to last year in the summertime when the wildfires were happening up in Canada, and the whole city smelled like an ashtray.
Yeah.
And you just go out and be like, ugh. So this is called White Skies and Wildfire Sun. 1,500 miles from Fort George as the crow flies. I step out the back door and I feel the air fry. And all over town, the smell of a wasted campfire. After all the ghost stories came true and the sun is little more than an ember trying to burn through. Show me white skies and a wildfire sun. Show me white skies and a wildfire sun. Show me white skies and a wildfire sun. Choke me white skies and a wildfire sun. 2,000 miles from Edmonton, south of the curtain. I feel like I smoked a pack and a half of Alberta. The smell of a wasted campfire. After all the ghost stories came true and the sun is little more than an ember trying to burn through. Show me white skies and a wildfire sun. Show me white skies and a wildfire sun. Show me white skies and a wildfire sun. Choke me white skies and a wildfire sun.
I think that's tapping into it right there, man.
It was literally just, this is what the backyard smells like. You know, I mean,
yeah.
Doesn't need to be any more, like, I'm not trying to make a big environmental statement or anything. It's just, here's where we're at.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah. Do you get in your songwriting process? Are you a news follower? Are you somebody who watches a lot of news?
Oh yeah. I am. I don't know that I want to necessarily make that part of the art that I create.
Sure.
Because I always kind of feel like I'm never going to be like informed enough to actually make a statement.
That's how I feel. I understand. I can understand what they're talking about, and I have my opinions and my views, but I don't necessarily always feel I'm in a place where I can articulate anything that's going to be useful anyway.
Like that song, that I just sang it's certainly climate change means we've got more wildfires.
Right.
But I'm not like making a statement like I'm a folk singer.
Sure.
Because I don't, I know about this issue,
Sure.
but I don't want to like speak authoritatively about this issue.
It's just your personal experience. This is
right.
Yeah.
Because someone who knows more than me is going to come along and go, "Oh, you're an idiot,"
Yeah.
So I'm not going to,
Yeah.
There are other people who can express themselves much better than I can about these very important things.
Right.
And
what do you think you write well about? What do you think what's in your wheelhouse when it comes to themes and subjects?
Oh boy, I was told there would be no hard questions.
Man, you should have known better than that, buddy. You should have known better.
I'm going to talk to Mike. I'm going to have to think.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, for a long time, just abstract nonsense was what I kind of gravitated towards, and I really wanted to be more direct about things. Not that helped on Passage, because there's certainly a lot of lyrical abstraction there.
Sure.
I don't know. I because of my own insecurities, I tend to focus more on what I'm not good at writing.
Sure.
But I don't know. You know what? I'll have to.
Yeah, next time.
Let me get back to you next time.
Next
I'm here.
time. Yeah. Well, yeah.
When I've got the next record and I come back with the band.
There you go. Perfect.
We'll do that.
Perfect.
We'll do that. This is another song from it's the flip side of the single from a couple years ago, the Cartoon Mind that I opened with. This is Carrion Bird. Let another day go by. I'll watch and try to see if you're starting to get over him, 'cause I don't wanna even try. If there's half a chance my timing is wrong, too soon is too soon. Too late and you'll have found somebody new. I won't be just a rebound. So if this is my one chance to be with you, I'll be biding my time. I'll be waiting to dive and I won't say a word. Flying high above the wreckage like I'm love's little carrion bird. I'll let another week go by. I'll listen to your friends and what they say about you. Take my time, taking my time. This is a window that you miss or you break. Too soon is too soon. Too late and you'll have found somebody new. I won't be just a rebound. So if this is my one chance to be with you, I'll be biding my time. I'll be waiting to dive and I won't say a word. Flying high above the wreckage, love's little carrion bird. So if I let another hour go by, is that new boy you mentioned your next love story? A new spark of light in your eyes? Time for me to fly away. Too soon is too soon. Too late and you'll have found somebody new. I won't be just a rebound. So if this is my one chance to be with you, I'll be biding my time. I'll be waiting to dive and I won't say a word. Flying high above the wreckage, love's little carrion bird. Flying high above the wreckage, love's little carrion bird. Flying high above the wreckage.
What else are you working on, man? What's going on? Are you? I know you're still doing some design. I just saw that you're working with Moraine Valley Community College again.
I'm still working down at Moraine.
Have you done every summer Shakespeare show for like the last? I mean, we're talking like 17 or 18 years at this point.
I did 10 in a row,
okay,
and then took. I didn't do anything during the pandemic.
Sure.
But I didn't do anything last summer.
Okay. So your first jump back in a while.
This is my first jump back in. We're doing King Lear, which we did in 2011.
Craig Rosen directing?
Craig Rosen is directing.
Yeah.
And Dan Scott is playing Lear again.
Okay.
And which I guess he's retiring at the end of this year, so this is his last. This is going to be his last Moraine.
It's a good way to go out.
Absolutely. He's having a good time. Good time chewing that up.
Yeah.
So I'm writing all the Lear music right now, and I'm working on. I just had a production meeting for that this afternoon, actually. And then I'm in an avant-garde duo called Donnie Who Loved Bowling.
Mm-hmm.
And over the pandemic, we released, I want to say, 4 albums worth of stuff.
It's a big catalog. I was looking at that. Yeah, that's a lot.
We've been going for 20 years or more, and so yeah, we did over the pandemic. I did one experimental music album of my own called The Excessive Machine, and Donnie did 4 records, and we released another one last year or early this year. And we're now working on
another one.
Yeah. The last one we did was called Synchromysticism, and that came out, I want to say, a few months ago.
And your partner in that project is?
My partner in that endeavor is a person by the name of Chris Petkus. I've known them since the mid-'90s, and they came in to help me on a solo project that I was working on, and I was just stuck. I didn't know where to go, and they had been an assistant director on a film that I was working on, and we'd gotten along pretty well, and joking around on set and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I called them up one day and said, "Can you come in? I really need some help on this." And we spent the evening just like playing tapes back at all the wrong speeds and backwards and upside down and making all sorts of strange noises and stuff, and thought, well, this is fun. So yeah, we've been doing this since the 90s, and it was a studio only thing for a long time. And a few years ago, Chris called me up and they said, I really want to play live. All right, cool. So they put a band together of Austin musicians, and I flew down and we played a festival called the it was NMAS, the New Music Art and Sound Summit,
okay.
I think, and had a great time.
Yeah.
And can I cuss on the air?
Go ahead.
Okay. So we have a live record from those performances called "Fuck You, I'm Cosmic."
My new favorite comeback.
Exactly. So yeah, those are on Bandcamp and also on the Spotify and the Apple Music and the Amazon and all that sort of thing. I believe it's DWLB for Donnie Who Loved Bowling.
Yeah. How did the name? Where did that name come from?
It's from The Big Lebowski.
Oh yes, that's right.
Donnie
And there's Eulogy.
That's just Steve Buscemi's character.
Right.
And we had been watching that a lot as we were putting together our first record.
Yeah.
And Chris's significant other at the time said, well, you guys should call yourselves Donnie Who Loved Bowling. And we said, okay, well, that's cool.
That's perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
That works, yes.
Yeah.
So, and we've been doing that ever since. And one of the things that when Chris moved to Austin a few years back, we had to kind of figure out how to work remotely.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did a lot of trial and error of like, I'm going to record a bunch of stuff at my house and email MP3s or upload stuff to Dropbox, and then they would go and do stuff and put it back up in the Dropbox, and I'd pull it down and put it in. And we had all that figured out, and we've done probably 6 or 7 records that way. And then the pandemic happened, and everybody was talking about how musicians are having to learn how to work remotely with each other. And we're like, well,
we already
got that.
Been there, done that.
We nailed that down.
Yeah, ahead of the curve.
So there will be a new Donnie record coming,
cool.
Hopefully within the year.
Cool.
And Lear opens in late July, and then there will be hopefully there will be a new Joe record that. I hope by the end of the year. I don't know. We'll see how these things go.
Yeah. Well, can't rush a good thing, man.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we say about Donnie. Is it takes as long as it takes.
Right.
So my stuff is at joegriffin.bandcamp.com or all over the Spotifys and iTuneses and.
Yeah.
All that sort of thing. Spotify is kind of the necessary evil because it's where everybody goes.
Right.
It's like you don't want your product on the shelf at
Walmart necessarily, but it's where everyone shops.
You don't. It's true. No, it's an unfortunate situation, but it is the truth, man.
Yeah.
You got one or two more for us here?
I got two more for you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. If people want to hang out.
Yeah, we're here, man. We're ready.
All right. So this is also from the new EP Passage, and it is called The Curtain Falls. In no man's land, seduced and abandoned, it's never too late. Defend and stand. We can give you a hand if you've got something to say. The darkness of angels, I met you in Naples, my little one. Angels of darkness tracked us and marked us. We never left Rome. It feels like life, but sitting in celluloid. It's really just time in a tin. Flying along, 24 frames a second, crumbling away from within. The darkness of angels, I met you in Naples, my little one. Angels of darkness tracked us and marked us. We never left Rome. Let me just do a quick retune here.
Joe Griffin live from the Que4 studio.
Yes.
I like all the songs on Passages, but I think Curtain Falls is probably my favorite. If I have to choose one, yeah.
Thanks, I'm really happy with that one.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous song.
Thank you. Got the bonus extra verse tonight. That's not on the record. It's there's a guitar solo there.
I love the long intro on that song too. So it's just sets up the song really really well.
Let it breathe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, there's no rush at that point. All right. This one is called Shoes. Rather keep my shoes on and not get comfortable inside your house. Try not to stay long, find a reason to move on. I work early, there's a meeting, the ground beneath my feet is always moving. I see the writing on the wall, but it's not you.
I see the writing on the wall, no matter who. I'd rather not surrender or be vulnerable inside your space. Keep it at a distance, a subtle sabotage, a bad date. I see the writing on the wall, but it's not you. I see the writing on the wall, no matter who. I'd rather keep my shoes on and not get comfortable inside your house. I might love you, that's what scares me. And the ground beneath my feet is always moving.
Joe Griffin live from the Q4 studio. Brother, always a joy to have you here, man.
Thank you so much
Man.
for having me back. I really had a great time.
Great stuff, man. And again, for everybody that want to hear some good music, go and grab Joe's new album, Passage. Good stuff, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
And anything you want to say before we get out of here? Any shout-outs, hellos to anyone? Or you want to take some parting shots at somebody?
So this is about...
Yeah.
No, I want to thank anyone who's listening. I know there are a few people, my brothers, my girlfriend, so, you know, Chris from Donnie is listening, Vincent, Jane from Utah, and a bunch of other folks that I'm sure I'm forgetting, and I hope that they won't be offended. So thank you all for listening,
Yeah.
and thank you to everyone who I don't know for listening, and I hope that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, echoing that. I definitely echo that. Thanks for everybody for listening, tuning in. I got some more music coming at you, but Joe, I'll bid you adieu. But again, brother, thank you so much for being here, man. Always a joy.
Right on.
Joe Griffin live from the Q4 studio.